I went down to Beaumont, where ballroom angels fly. Something.
Oh, all right, good. It says it's recording. Okay, I'm getting in this bathtub. By the way, thank you for sending the robe.
You're welcome.
But it's more like a T-shirt for someone that's 6'4". Like it's literally like this. These are my. This is boxer shorts. This is the robe. That's my knee. That's how long the robe is on me.
Nice. Yeah, they go definitely below the knee on me.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's hot. That's a hotter bath than I planned. Well, this is the first.
Okay, this is even better than I thought because the bathtub is tiny and you're gigantic.
All bathtubs are tiny. All right. If I lean back in a casual manner, am I in the frame? I'm in the frame.
You're in the frame, yeah.
It's so hot. Hi.
God, this is awesome.
We are just having a conversation. I'm in the
we
bathtub.
are just casually in bathtubs with our clothes on. It's great.
How did you come up with this? Wait, I'm sorry. You're the interviewer. I won't do this.
Yeah. I don't even know, really. I was really just, I was having a completely different conversation. And I don't know, I just kind of thought it would be funny. I really just kind of threw it out there as a joke. And then the person that I was talking to was like, wait, that would be great. That would be hilarious.
It's pretty funny. When I got your pitch, I was like, that's too weird. I can't do that. And then I was like, wait, that's so weird that I can do that.
Right. I thought that it was just quirky enough that right? Like that kind of people have to say yes. And then also that people would have to watch because who would not want to see this, right?
I mean, so I could think of plenty of people that would not want to see this.
So I thought, I pitched it to Courtney Patton because she's a little silly also. And so I pitched it to her because I was like, all right, if Courtney's not on board, then nobody's going to be on board. But if Courtney is on board, then at least I have Courtney. And of course she said yes. So I was like, all right, well, I get to go. I guess I'm doing this then. And so that's how that happened.
Perfect.
All right, so you are in a little bitty bathtub in Nashville.
It's a regular sized bathtub, Nicole. It's a regular sized bathtub.
Right.
I'm just not a little bitty person. Baths, when you are 6'4", you can only bathe 50% of yourself at one time in a bathtub. And so you either have to decide if it's all legs up and you're getting your torso wet, or if it's all legs and then you're up here. This is the only option you have. My feet are all the way against the other end of the bathtub.
Love it.
This is one of the curses of being a tall person.
You did mention though that you're in Nashville, yeah? This is not your tub. This is like a loner tub, right?
This is a loner tub, yeah. This is not my own personal tub.
Right. So why are you there? What are you doing in Nashville?
I write songs for a publishing company called BMG, and I am in Nashville every other Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to write songs for sometimes me, but mostly for other artists in the hopes that we can collaborate on something that they would want to record.
Very cool. Yeah. So that's a regular gig. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love
it. So is this the same BMG that everybody owes money to for the CDs? Remember Columbia
for
BMG?
For taping a penny on the thing? Yes. They are a little more respectable now, but yes, that's the same exact company.
Awesome.
They're the largest publishing company in the world. They're based in Germany, and they have 35 offices in all over the world. In the United States, they have them in New York, Nashville, and Los Angeles. So they've come a long way from their old school tape a penny here, get 12 free CDs. And then if you forget once, we will charge you $28.99 for a greatest hits of Bette Midler CD that you will not be able to do anything with when you are a 17-year-old male.
Yes.
That's them.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you for a while, but you put on Red River Songwriting Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for everybody, or is that for people that are known songwriters? Like, give us kind of the spiel on that festival.
Yeah, so I organize 2 songwriting festivals every year. One is in Red River, New Mexico at the end of January, and then the other one is in the end of August in Marathon, Texas. That is the Marathon Songwriters Festival, and they are not like songwriters workshops or anything. They are think a music festival, a regular music festival, but whenever like a solo songwriter gets booked to play on a big music festival, they'll say like, "Oh, you're on our songwriter stage," and then you show up at this huge festival and you're so pumped because your name is on the poster with all these super cool people, and they're like, "All right, there's the main stage. Now, if you will go 7 blocks that way, there's a building. And if you go into that building and you go down to the basement, there's a closet in the back of the basement. If you open that up, that's the songwriter stage." Like every festival is like, "Oh, you're a solo songwriter? Oh, way over there."
Okay.
And so we wanted to do something where the songwriter was first and foremost the whole point of putting on the music. And so every performer plays solo. Doesn't have to be acoustic, but most everybody plays acoustic guitar or piano. But it's a chance for people to hear the songwriter do something that I do all the time, but maybe these people don't, which is play solo and tell stories behind their songs and engage with the audience. And we intentionally keep these festivals small. Red River and Marathon right now are both 300 tickets and under. And the whole purpose of that is everyone has a seat in the main venue, but then during the weekend, you could see Walt Wilkins walking down the street and say like, "Walt, what are you doing?" And Walt would be like, "I'm going to breakfast. Have you had breakfast?" He's like, "Come with me." Or Kelly McLeod or Josh Grider will be skiing down the mountain, and someone will be like, "Hey, you're at the festival. Come with us on this next run." The whole point of it is to make it a personal experience in a small setting, and then also to have people that are really fans of songwriters showing you how the song started, because 99 out of 100 times the song starts with the songwriter and the instrument and their voice and their words. And so these festivals are a chance to showcase that.
Okay. Yeah, so I was always thinking that it was more of a workshop with some concerts mixed in.
Yeah,
So
we have done 2 different versions of the Red River Songwriters Summer Camp, which is exactly that. It's a workshop where people get the chance to come and learn the craft of songwriting, or how to improve, or new ways to work themselves out of tough situations that you find yourself in as far as songs go. Just new and interesting ways for people to get the most that they can get out of their craft, out of songwriting. So we've done that a few times, and there are other events like that that I've participated in, but neither one of those are specifically geared towards, all of us songwriters uniting and working on stuff.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So last year you put out, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Ocotillo?
Ocotillo.
Ocotillo.
Here, I'll show you what Ocotillo is. There is a tattoo. This is not something I get to do in a lot of podcasts. There's a tattoo of the Ocotillo plant, which is plentiful in the Great Sonoran Desert. It's my favorite plant. So
Gotcha.
that's what the band is named after.
All right, and so that was, it's kind of like a side project that you were doing, but is that something that you plan on doing more of?
Yeah, for sure. I did it with two really good friends of mine, a guy named Davis Nash, who, if you've heard much of my music, you've heard songs that Davis and I have written together. We wrote Cream and Sugar and When I Miss You Most off of the At Home and the Big Lonesome record. If you listen to the live at Main Street Crossing record that I did with Josh, we wrote Questions and Answers together. Davis is a guy that I've written a ton of songs with. And then the third guy in the band is a guy named Fakayo Tai, who's from Australia. And we've all been buddies and we've all written a bunch of songs together. And I showed up at their studio one day up here in Nashville and they said, all right, here's what we want to do. And you're going to say no, but don't say no. And I was like, okay. They said, we want to write a pop song, which is not anything strange to me. Okay, pop song. But we want it to be for you. And I was like, no. We're like, no, we told you not to say no. You said no.
Right.
Like, what are we going to do with that? We're like, look, have you heard the Avicii song that came out with Dan Tomiski singing the lead vocals on it? I think it's called Brother or Brothers or whatever it was called. And Dan Tomiski is the voice of Man of Constant Sorrow from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He's also a member of Alison Krauss's band, Union Station. He plays acoustic guitar and sings. Incredible voice, great songwriter. And this, EDM producer, Avicii, asked him to do this. And if you hear the song, it's clearly a country vocal, but it's a pop song. And it completely works. And so they said, well, this is what we want to try because we think it would totally work with your voice. And I was like, well, you guys are idiots. This is a dumb idea, but all right. Because we're friends, all right. One of the rules in the studio is you don't say no because there's a delete button. If it doesn't work out, you can just delete it. But if you say no before you ever even try something, you could be missing out on a great opportunity. So I said, all right, let's try it. And the first song we wrote was a song that ended up on the Ocotillo EP called Backpack. And I sang it down, I wrote the lyrics, and we collaborated on the melody, and they handled the production. And I listened back to it, and I was like, holy shit, I think this works. And they're like, we told you, see, we told you. So we decided that we would make a project out of it. And so we recorded 5 songs and put them out last year. And I had so much fun doing it. It was amazing.
Right. I took
so that's
it
where
like
that came from.
Right. I enjoy all music. So I really liked it. I know that there were a lot of mixed.
Our connection lost.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. This is me being up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So work thing. All right, that's right. And then this is me going. There it is.
Okay.
So where were we? In the tub.
Yes. So we're in the tub.
We're in the tub.
I guess I was letting you know that I really enjoyed that EP. I know that I saw a lot of mixed reviews and talk about it on Twitter, and so I was just kind of wondering where you were at on that, like, how you felt about it, if you were going to be making more of those, or.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, it was really, most people were really positive about it. There were some people who, oddly enough, reacted in a way where it made it seem like I genuinely hurt their feelings.
Right.
I tried something different. which is like, on one hand, really sweet because they like what I've been doing. But then on the other hand, it's like, it's just a couple of songs. It doesn't mean that like this is this forever. It's just something fun. It was fun for me. And yeah, so, but I mean, honestly, you're an author, you know what it's like to put yourself out into the world. The worst possible reaction is nobody says anything.
Right.
Is nobody says anything negative, anything positive, because either they find it and it doesn't do anything to them in any direction whatsoever, or they don't find it at all. And so I would rather people have a negative reaction to something like that than no reaction at all, because I mean, they might not like it in the moment, but at that point, I've released 9 studio albums of stuff that they like understand, and like that if somebody sees my name on the marquee would be the music that they would go to see and then expect to see that. So there's plenty of music for them to listen to. But yeah, some people got their feelings hurt, which is like kind of sweet in a way, but it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, that's always hilarious to me when people, they get legit butthurt over an artist changing course a little bit. Like I feel like I saw that a lot with almost with every album like that Sturgill puts out, because they're all different.
Yeah.
Right? They all like change a little bit. To where now like the most recent one is nothing like the first one at all. Yeah. And people they're really like mad about it. Like he's not allowed to do that.
It's a totally understandable response, because like when I was in college, or not even college, when I was in high school, I found Dave Matthews before he even had signed with RCA, like the Remember Two Things record. And it was like the first time I felt like somebody was making music specifically for me. And then you had that record, then you had Under the Table of Dreaming, and then you had Crash. And all of those records were for that guy at that time in his life. And then I think the next one, it was Before These Crowded Streets and then Busted Stuff or whatever, but they continually got a little less like what the old stuff was, and were clearly searching out for a new direction, for new things that were interesting to the band, or being interesting to Dave as a songwriter. And what you don't realize is a person that's going to make a couple of albums that you truly connect to, that's really an artist that's working hard, that is trying to express themselves in a very important way, and you find their music and it works for you. That artist only got there by really trying to push their own boundaries and figure out who they were as a songwriter or as an artist. And if you have an artist that you love and they put out 2 or 3 albums that really, really connect to you on a deep way, you are a lucky person, because you got 2 or 3 albums from one of your favorite artists. But to expect that a person that was exploring new territory and pushing the boundaries for themselves as an artist to get to the 3 records that you love, to then stop doing that and stay exactly there, is counterintuitive to the process that they went through to get to those records to begin with. So I love those couple of Dave Matthews records, and I love everything that he's done afterwards, but for different reasons. Not in the same like spiritually resonating way I loved those first couple of records at that time in my life. And so anybody that gets their feelings hurt because you're exploring yourself as an artist, it's a compliment, because that means you connected with them before. Because if they didn't give a shit, why would they even spend any time voicing their opposition to, as a Sturgill fan, the new Sturgill record or whatever? It just means you connected with them. And people forget that a record is a snapshot in time of where that artist is, and it's not always going to be where that person is. We don't live in frames and frame photographs. We are out seeing new things and meeting new people, everything changes, and I get it. And of course, if you go see them in concert, you want them to play the hits. So, and an artist rightly should do that. But to expect each new offering of recorded material to align with exactly what you're looking for in that artist is an unreasonable expectation of an artist.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like, which brings me to my next thing. Your most recent album was Topo Chico Cowboys with Josh Ryder,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's completely different than the one that you had just put out just a few months before that. You want to tell us a little bit about that one, or are you working on something new now?
I just recorded a song today that I'll put out in a couple, like probably 2 months or whatever. But Josh and I have played so many shows together. Like, he is my best friend in the world. We got into the music business at the same time, at the same age. We were married to our wives at our same age. He had his oldest son first, but for the most part, we've raised families at the same time. We've toured together. We've both had publishing deals in Nashville. We've grown up in the music business, and as adults, kind of step in step the entire way. And if there, like, it's such an amazing experience to grow up with someone who does a very specific thing that you do for a living as well, that involves sharing a lot of who you are as a person, and your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences, because it's you're really opening yourself up when you should be anyway, when you're making a record and you're putting music out. Like, it's easy, going back to criticizing music, it's easy to see a critical response to your music as someone saying that, no, it's not just that they don't like this record, it's that they don't like you. Because so much of the record is you. It's what you've been doing the last year. So to grow up through the business and through family and life with another guy, for me, has been fantastic. It has been amazing. And so Josh and I have always played a ton of shows together. We know each other's songs. I know how to play all of Josh's songs. Josh knows how to play all of my songs. He knows my harmonies. I know his harmonies. It just made sense for us to finally record something together. And so we had all these songs to pick from, and we basically picked Here's to Friends, which is a song that Josh wrote with a couple of buddies because it's just a great song. And then we picked Dollar on the Wall because it's a song that I wrote by myself about this bar in Key West, because we were getting ready to go to Key West to play at the Mile Zero Festival. So that's kind of why we put it together. And we came up with the name the Topo Chico Cowboys because one time a couple of years ago at the Red River Songwriters Festival, we were telling this story about, like, getting out of my Prius that I had at the time, kind of dressed like cowboys, but kind of not, in Post, Texas. And these real cowboys pulled up on the other side of the gas pump to us. And they were two dudes, and they seemed to be kind of exactly our same age. And there was, like, that moment where, like, you looked at each other, and I'm wearing a cowboy hat and boots and stuff, but so are they, and it's a little different. And I was like, like, I had said something like, they were probably trying to figure out what the hell kind of cowboys we were. And somebody in the back of the Motherlode Saloon at the festival yelled, "Y'all are the Topo Chico Cowboys," which I assume is some version of the Coca-Cola Cowboy or whatever. But it was really funny, and it stuck. And so that's where we came up with the name. And we thought that one of two things would happen when we released it. Topo Chico would sue us, and we would have to not be able to use the name, or they would love it. And Topo Chico loved it.
Yes.
They're so, like, they're sending us. Have you gone into the gas station and seen, like, the skinny Topo Chico fridges?
Yeah.
They're sending us skinny Topo Chico fridges and, like, a year's worth supply of Topo Chico. which is
You really
great.
can't ask. Yeah.
Like I am drinking right now. I am drinking tequila, grapefruit, Topo Chico, and lime, and I pack the Topo Chico in my suitcase to come to Nashville every trip. So I have been a fan for a long time. So this has been good.
Yeah. I stock up on the grapefruit Topo Chico when I'm in Houston. I can't find it where I'm at.
Where do you live?
I'm in Big Sandy, Texas. I'm right outside of Tyler.
Man, that's such a great name.
Yeah.
Big
Right.
Sandy. That sounds like a band, like a record by the band.
Yeah.
Man, what's your favorite band record? Man, I love the Big Sandy record.
Maybe.
It's a good one.
Yeah. No, I love it up here, but you can't get anything. So I stock up on a lot of stuff like that when I'm down in Houston.
Yeah. I get it.
So who is your favorite person that you've written something with? Maybe Josh, huh?
Yeah, I mean, for sure Josh, or like, I mean, the easy answer could be Josh or Walt Wilkins or Susan Gibson or Kelly McWee or whomever, like my really close friends. But there's an artist who lives in Nashville now, but he's from Pennsylvania like me. His name is Patrick Droney, and he's putting together an album. And we went through the files of all the songs that we've written together, and we've written 59 songs together. And I met him 3.5 years ago. So that's more songs than I've ever written with anybody else.
That's a lot.
And so I would say, other than my Texas crew, I would say Patrick or I would say Davis Nash are my go-to songwriting guys. We just kind of speak the same language in the room and get excited about the same things. And I just love anybody that, like, the only reason why I have a job in this town is because of lyrics. I'm okay at melodies. I'm a serviceable singer, a serviceable guitar player. But it turns out that it seems like maybe lyrics are the hardest thing for people to figure out. And I really love words. I really love whether it's prose or whether it's rhyming in the structure and the form of writing a popular music song. I love how words work and how you can put them together and the internal rhymes that you can get and the hidden meanings and the double meanings and how you can boil down this huge story into 120 words with the help of melody, with the help of dynamics of the music. I love words. And that is why I have a job in Nashville, because it turns out the word people don't usually get the babes. It's the cool guitar playing guy or the good looking singer guy. So people don't really work so hard on the words growing up. But then those word nerds that are hanging around are like, well, hey, what if you said this instead? They're like, damn, man, that's cool. Why don't you come hang out with me? And that's how it starts. So that's why I have a gig is words. And I love anybody that wants to push for the best lyric. They could be great singers, which both Patrick and Davis are, incredible guitar players, which Patrick is one of the greatest guitar players I've ever been around in my life, and he's 27. They're incredible musicians and producers and consummate players, but they really want to push for the best lyric they could possibly get. And that's why those guys are like my soul brothers when it comes to doing this.
So is that what you look for? You listen to what you think is a really great song. Are you looking for the lyrics?
Always.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, I love great melodies. I love great production. I love listening to all that stuff. But and I'll listen to a song and the first couple of plays, you're like, damn, those drum sounds are amazing. Or God, that band is really tight and I love that melody. and you listen to it 4 or 5 times and you appreciate it every time. But the songs that I've listened to throughout the course of my adult life have always been songs that have meaningful lyrics to me.
Right. Yeah, I like songs that you can listen to 10, 11 times and you're like, you catch something new that they said that you didn't even realize was there to begin with. Yeah.
Me too. I love that. Can you tell that my bath is slowly getting lower? Maybe you haven't been able to see it. We still got plenty of bubbles though. But yeah, my bath is slowly getting lower.
Yeah, mine's getting colder because like I was afraid to make it too hot and be like sweating in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in the bath too. Oh my God.
I am.
Of course you are. That's what makes this perfect. I thought maybe you're sitting at your kitchen table. We're two people talking. You know what we are? All right, here, I got a plan for you. You need to get sponsored by Cialis or whatever that one medication is for erectile dysfunction, where they always have the guy and the girl sitting side by side in bathtubs and they reach out and hold each other's hand.
Yes.
That's, well, I mean, you're in a bathtub and I'm in a bathtub. It only makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't get the angle of it right to be able to use the backboard like for my drink and notes.
The backboard is amazing.
And all of that.
I couldn't fit it in my suitcase.
Yeah, I figured probably not.
I wish I did though, because I would love to have my drink right here.
Yeah.
But this stuff is amazing. I love that you came up with this idea and you totally went for it.
I did. I was like, but it's kind of like what you were just saying. What's the worst that can happen if somebody they say no, right?
Yeah.
But not many people have said no. Like so many people have said yes, which just keeps blowing my mind.
Well, the first reaction is like, well, this is my personal space. Why would I do that? But then once you get over that, you're like, but then again, I've never done anything like that before. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really ridiculous. And then I had one of my older daughters take a picture of me fully clothed in the bath, like to be kind of a promo picture for this. And I laughed so hard while she was doing that I cried. Like that just kind of sealed the deal for me. Like, I knew that it was absolutely perfectly ridiculous enough that it just might work. So
yeah.
If you could challenge somebody to be on this podcast, who do you want to see sitting in a tub?
Well, of course, I would say Josh, because he's very personal, and this would make him very uncomfortable, and I live for moments that make Josh uncomfortable. There is a Mexican restaurant right in between where we live. We both live in New Braunfels in the same neighborhood, and like a quarter mile away from my house and a mile away from his house is this Mexican restaurant that has these great live oak trees and this big patio and a playground. And it's all enclosed. So when it's nice out, he's got 2 boys and I have 2 boys. And we will walk to Herbert's to just have a margarita and let the boys play on the playground and just hang out and catch up. And every once in a while, a waiter or a waitress will be like, your boys are just so kind to everybody on the playground. And I'll reach out and I'll pat his hand and I'll be like, you know, we've really tried hard to raise the kids in a way where they're really being mindful of everyone around them. And man, nothing makes you be like, you've got kids and I've got kids and they're different kids, but thanks, man. Like, I love anything that makes Josh uncomfortable. So this would make Josh uncomfortable. So I would say Josh. But other than the obvious answer, which would be Josh, Jamie Lynn for sure, because she's hilarious. And I can come up with one more. I think that Wade Bowen would be hilarious doing that. Because he's a funny guy to begin with. And I've only gotten to know Wade a lot better the last couple of years. And he is just a prince of a human being. He's a great dude and a great songwriter and a great music brain. But a really fun guy to be around. So I think that's a good one.
All right. Well, I'll definitely hit them up and I'll let them know that it's your fault that I'm reaching out.
Perfect.
Jamie Lynn, I've already emailed her people. So, but I'll let her know now that you're kind of pushing for it too.
Okay, good. I'll help.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you're working on right now that you want to talk about before I let you get out of your uncomfortable bath here?
Well, it's a bath. It's not that uncomfortable.
I mean, the clothes do make it weird, right?
I just it's just not. I mean, it's not uncomfortable, but I just don't work in bathtubs. It's not your fault. I just recorded a song today. I was talking about Patrick Droney. His single. He just released a single for Warner Brothers a week ago. So, I mean, we're recording this on a Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. So it was released last Friday. And it was his first single on a major label. And we wrote that song, and I love it. It feels great. But the very next day, I wrote this song with two other songwriters that really felt great to me. And I recorded it today in the studio, and I'm going to release it as a single in the next couple of months. And I would think sooner than later. So look out for a song called Let It Breathe. I guess if I can't write a brilliant song called Let It Be, because the Beatles have already done it, I'll just get close to how that sounds. Which is was not my intention. It was just pointed out to me after the fact. So that'll be coming. We'll announce the lineup for the 3rd ever Marathon Songwriters Festival. Oh no!
What?
Son of a bitch. I don't know where you lost me.
You
single.
Announcing the new Red River Marathon.
Yeah, the new marathon lineup will be announced probably in the next month and a half, and that's the end of August. But other than that, just writing songs and hanging out in a bathtub with Nicole.
All right.
Is it cold? How warm is your bathtub?
I don't know. I mean, it was warm when I got in, but it's pretty cold now.
There was water when I got in, but it's pretty much gone through.
So that was just kind of leaking. Yeah?
I don't get to regulate this. I don't live here. But it's got good bathroom tile.
It really does.
Good. This old, the place that I would always stay for the last couple. I'm back.
There you go.
Am I back?
Yeah.
The place that I stayed for a couple of years just got sold, so I'm trying to find a new place to kind of be my regular home. And I rented this place just because it had a bathtub.
Oh, well, how about that?
Because what else? I mean, I'm not gonna rent some place that has a shower and say sorry.
Yeah.
We can do this in the shower. That's just weird.
Right.
This is more normal to do it in the bathtub.
Bathtub is definitely not weird at all.
Are you all right? Can I interview you for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Are you writing anything?
I am. I'm writing a book called So Much Intention.
What's the thing that you did the Kickstarter for that I didn't see until the Kickstarter was over?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Probably. So that's about basically.
How's your first book doing?
First book is doing well.
I really want to read it.
It had a lot more positive review than I thought that it would, because it's kind of controversial. So I was really kind of surprised that so many people were receptive of it. And so that was really kind of neat.
A lot of people have experienced that in a community that they're not supposed to experience
Right.
that from.
Right.
So I really want to read it. One of the big holes that can be blown in your religion as you grow up with it, from my standpoint, is I was an ancient Middle Eastern history major in college. And once I started learning about the Crusades, I was just like, wait, what?
Right.
Wait, what? All of this for 700 years? Christians did this? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Like, in the name of, oh my gosh, that's not right at all. And that was my first being like, I might have to think about this kind of stuff. So I would love to read your book, but how close are you to being finished?
So this one, I'm probably a few months out.
Yeah. For draft one or what?
I'm sorry, do what?
For draft one, or like, are you way past draft one?
Yeah, for draft one. Because we took in 2 foster babies. I had prepared the house to take in foster kids, but not babies. And so, yeah, so they're 2 and 1. And so that really kind of put like a lot of time constraint on what I have left over to be writing with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of pushing that timeline out a little bit, which I'm glad we're talking about that, because I need to email the Kickstarter people and let them know, like, hey, it's not going to be June. It's going to be like August.
I don't blame you. I wrote a really terrible book in 2011, and people are always asking me, when are you going to write another one? And my response is always like, when I have kids that are in school full time, because only getting 5 minutes at a time to think about writing a book is not how you write a good book.
Right. Yeah, and like when they do have time, you don't want to sit and write.
No, you just want to sit and be quiet. So you have adopted 2 kids.
Well, I've adopted 1, and then we're fostering 2 right now. So I have, so the 7-year-old we adopted when she was 3.5. And then right now we're fostering a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old.
That's amazing.
It's a bit wild.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
and like right now, the one doesn't wake up if she sleeps next to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm quiet. People should interview you because of stuff like that, not interview me because of songs.
No, you're a fantastic songwriter. You were like, I made a very short list of who I would reach out to first. And you were on there, so I'm really glad that you said yes. It's awesome.
Thanks, Nicole. Well, my first response was to say no, and then I read it again, and I thought, I showed my wife, and I was like, read this. And Holly said, you should do that. It's so weird, you should do it. And so I did it. And I have to say, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. But she might be a little bit biased because I buy a lot of stuff from her little vintage
I don't even know that
online shop thing.
She didn't even see who it came from.
No?
No, I just showed her the body of the email. She didn't even see who it came from.
I was going to say, she might have been trying to make sure that you were buttering up.
Fist Holly Shelton.
Yes.
All right. So you have another interview coming up.
I do.
You got to clean out, change out that bath water. Warm it up.
I do. Yeah, and I guess I need to like move where this board is. If you thought that I was at a kitchen table, then this angle is probably not right.
It looked good to me. Sorry, my connection kept dropping.
That's okay. I mean, I don't, I'll put like a little blurb in between the videos and just kind of patch it together and be like, oops. I mean,
all right. Well,
surely there's like, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. When do you think that it's gonna come out? Do you know?
Probably the week of March 8th, because I will, yeah, I'll be on vacation, so I'll have time to actually load up some videos. Because I wanted to release like 3 or 4 at the same time.
Okay,
To
cool.
that way like people can binge it at first.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Is that a turtle? Let me see your tattoos.
Yeah. The turtle.
Cool.
And a seahorse.
Yeah, dig it.
Yeah.
I like that. I've got the feather because it's a quilt pen. Because I'm a writer. Okay, the names of the ships that my grandparents came over from Ireland on.
Nice.
And then some other stuff up here, and then over here I got a stick and poke cloud because I love clouds, and then some other stuff up here.
You want to see really
to do. Huh?
I have a yam that I named Yamber.
Yamber. Oh my God, I love it. I love that.
And this one is a mama hen, me, and all these children.
Is that new, or is it just because your hand was in the water?
Just because my hand was in the water.
Oh yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me in Tubs and Troubadours, Nicole.
Sorry about the small. Troubadours and tubs.
Troubadours and tubs.
Same difference.
That's okay. Everything is small. Flying on airplanes is, this is the way it goes.
Yeah.
But have fun talking to Courtney.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I'm just
all right.
You can put that in the podcast. She's a lot. She's a lot. Just saying. Good luck.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank
Bye.
you.